Hi friends, Astrologer Joe here, and welcome to this update video. This one is right before the full moon in Capricorn, and I call this one the full moon of realization. If you haven't been paying attention, there's a lot of activity going on, as I suggested, and many other astrologers and psychics have all said the same thing. There's going to be a lot of disruption in the air. Beginning at the beginning of July, especially the middle part of July. But now we're going deeper and deeper into this chaotic season that I see coming, and especially in August. And I'll have the astrology for that as well. But I wanted to do this update video to show you what is going on and to give you a little more insight onto the astrology. So this should be a quick video, but I want to show you what I'm seeing here. Okay, so first off, let's just recap. So between July the 13th through the 21st of July, we have this heavy, intense energy. And it appears every time we have these intense alignments between the planets, okay, every astrologer knows this, there seems to be more chaos in the mix. There seems to be a lot more uncertainty. There seems to be more people being agitated and frustrated. And these two right here, Mars and Uranus, absolutely fit the bill, because these two have been getting closer and closer together. And they're in Taurus, which is the sign of foundation, money, power structures, food, supplies, the earth. I mean, this is all in the mix. And so I just want to show you how important astrology is, because when you see these heavy alignments coming in, like we are seeing them now, and we will continue to see them even more so in August, so buckle up, because the astrology in August, the second half of August, is very strong. That's all I could say. Now, it's a wild card because of the amount of energy that's coming in, especially after the 14th of August. And I will get to that video next month. So anyway, you could see here, July 15th, there was an exact conjunction between Mars and Uranus. And you could see it right up in here, okay? But usually events occur before these actually hit right on, okay? It's usually about like a week or two sometimes on either side that doorway is open. And so we could see that right there, really strong. And so what did we see? Okay, in the United States' chart, we saw the conjunction here in the 6th house of health and service. And we know that there was Mr. T that, had a bullet through his ear. That's something to do with health. We see something here with Neptune and Saturn in the 3rd house of communication. So we see that there's a lot of information coming out. We also see the 8th house is being activated. The 8th house is the house of death and rebirth. The sun was transiting Mercury. And so we see quite a few planets in that 8th house. So we see a transformation taking place and the possibility of someone being injured, Mars and Uranus in the 6th house. Again, it's a symbolic language. Then we see Jupiter really conjuncting Uranus. It's like giving everyone this nervous energy, this anxiety that we're all seem to be feeling, like for no apparent reason. And that's because this energy is super active right now. And it will continue to be. I'm doing this video on the 19th of July, 2024, and we still have a few more days until we have the full moon. Matter of fact, the moon is in Capricorn right now, leading up to a very strong full moon in Capricorn. Now, we'll get to that chart as well, but I wanted to give you a little glimpse of what I see coming here. And of course, let's quickly review. On the 13th, we had Mr. T getting shot through the ear, okay? But at the same time, there was a little bit of disruption at the RNC, as I said. I said chaos at the conventions, and it may be the DNC convention, because they're going to be doing their convention right on the chaotic energy on August the 19th. So maybe there's more chaos over there. But here, there was an incident near the RNC, okay? There was, police had to shoot somebody, okay? It was a knife-wielding guy that... I don't know what nobody really knows the whole story unless you're there. But again, I pulled these up because it's close enough to the situation there. We knew there were going to be some disruptions. I wouldn't say this was chaos, but I mean, shooting somebody is not exactly, a normal occurrence. And so there was chaos for all the people involved. But I saw it, around the RNC. And so maybe it wasn't in the RNC, but let's see what happens with, the DNC. But also at the same time, people are not paying attention to stories like this. This is from farms.com. This was on July the 1st. And basically they're saying there's billions of bushels of acres lost in north central USA. And here it is. The U.S. Midwest is currently experiencing severe flooding with regions like southeast South Dakota, northwest Idaho, southwest Minnesota facing historic flood levels not seen in a millennium. Okay, so basically this is a hidden story. And remember I said, watch the weather, watch the rain, things pertaining to water. Now, why is this important? Because the middle part of the country is where the food sources are. And this torrential rain that's happening and all of this stuff, is not coincidental. I'm sorry to have to say that. I know it sounds crazy, but it's not coincidental. And so I've seen this as major disruption as well. This could be disruption in the food sources. Okay. Then we see a story like this. This was from Dabu 7 a couple of days ago. And there's a dam about to break. This was a few days ago. I don't know if it broke or not, but the levels did go really high. Nashville, Illinois. The dam was getting so much water that they were concerned that it was going to flood out this entire region. And I left the link to this video down below. Residents evacuated in Nashville, Illinois after dam overtops and floods amid heavy rain. Once again, the middle part of the country seems to be, getting nailed with some strange weather. So again, keep an eye on the weather, not just the political theater, because there seems to be something strange going on with the weather. Okay. And so this is another area that's not getting a lot of attention, which I think we need to kind of pay attention to, because if the middle part of the country gets destroyed, a lot of our food comes from there, and places like California as well. So these are places you got to keep an eye on. All right, let's continue, because on the 20th, we have Mars entering Gemini. Now, this is going to shift the energy completely, because now Mars, which is about aggression, moving forward, acts of violence, it's in the sign of Gemini, the duality, the voice, communication. And something really strange has occurred today on the 19th, and I will get to that in a minute, but let me first go into this Mars and Gemini, why this is going to be important in the next 6 weeks. Mr. T is a Gemini, so he's still going to be in the picture, as I said. But here's Mars entering Gemini. And the reason this is important is because Mars will be meeting up with Jupiter in Gemini on exactly August the 14th. And this is a lot of energy coming in, and eventually it'll make alignments to Saturn and eventually make alignments to Neptune. These could be anything from power outages, miscommunication, information that's shocking, internet going down. I don't know about you folks here, but I'm in northern Arizona, and we've been having some real issues with the cell service. Now, I've got several cell phones, and trying to get on the internet has been a bit of a challenge. Okay, I know I'm in a rural area, but usually I have pretty good reception. I've been here a couple of weeks and it was fine. All of a sudden, it just started really, acting up and going haywire to the point where I only had like 1 megabit per second. I mean, it was just ridiculous. And then, I would go to the local library as well, and their internet was down too, or was having trouble. So, and I've asked other people around in the Sedona area and Phoenix area, and they were saying they were having some issues also with cellular service. So this fits all under the umbrella of Mars in Gemini, Jupiter in Gemini. Anything to do with communication can be an issue in the next 6 weeks, especially in August when Mars conjuncts Jupiter or gets closer. Then once it passes that and it begins to square Saturn right here, we could expect some more stupidity and chaos with technology. So keep an eye on that, okay? In the USA chart, here's Mars. Now Mars is going to conjunct Uranus. We could expect in the next couple of weeks some surprises. We could expect, again, anything to do with technology becoming an issue, or the systems going down, disruption of all kinds. Now, keep this in mind, because things have been occurring here, all right? Also, Mr. T, Jupiter and Mars will conjunct his Uranus. He's in for some major surprises. This could be anything. Him saying things that are going to upset people. I mean, he's done that before. But also possibly another, attempt on his life or something like that. Anything is possible at this time. This is going to be a very volatile time as we go into August, especially after the 14th. From the 14th on, very chaotic energy. So at least you guys have a heads up. So if you start feeling, nervous and anxiety, you go, why is this happening? The energy is ramping up. Okay, so pay attention. Now, let's get to the full moon, because I do want to get into some of the stories that are happening. But this full moon is the second full moon in Capricorn. So these are two very strong moons. And what makes this one even stronger is because of the alignments that are associated with this full moon. So let's look at it closely. It's going to be at 29 degrees of Capricorn, and it's conjunct Pluto, only about a degree off. Very powerful. We also have an alignment to Neptune at 29 degrees. So something to do possibly with water, confusion, misunderstandings. It's making an alignment to Uranus as well at 26 degrees. Surprises. Of course, it is opposing the Sun at 29. So, and it is also in conjuncting Mercury at 26. So we have a lot of very unstable energy at this time. And so the reason I call this realization, because Capricorn is a very down-to-earth sign. And wherever it is in your own personal birth chart, you'll look at that and go, that kind of makes sense. So this is a moon that's saying, pay attention to what's coming. Pay attention to what's already occurred, whether it's in the political theater, whether it's in government, whether it's happening behind the scenes. This is why I said this. This is a realization, because Pluto's involved. Pluto is about digging deep and getting to the core of an issue. So anytime Pluto is activated like this, we see either destruction or chaos, or we see power structures being dissolved and things changing. You see, and that's what's exactly happening right now. And by the way, full moons are activated usually a week before, sometimes 3 to 4 days before the actual moon occurs. Okay, so in the United States' chart, we have it activating the Pluto in the United States. See, 29, 27. See, we're not out of that, chaotic realm yet. And I said this, in one of my previous videos. I said it's a very chaotic time and a very disruptive time. The energy is unstable. And so we have a few more days and to see what else comes out of all of this nonsense that we're experiencing. Okay, so this is going to be very important. Having to do with, we also see Mr. Biden's health. Supposedly he has the CV, and that is also something with Neptune here in the third house, and Saturn in the third house as well. Saturn represents leaderships, or the leader, and it's in Pisces. Pisces represents health, mental health, imagination, not being there anymore, like dementia. And it's obvious that he does have some mental problems. And so this could be related to him. And so we see this still being very active. Let's put it that way. This full moon is going to be very active, even a couple of days afterwards. So let's see what happens. Maybe there's some more stuff that comes out about Biden or Mr. T just in the next couple of days. So, but while all this nonsense is going on, this criminal organization continues to do this. Okay, I'm reading story after story about this. And of course, this is nothing new to my viewers and many others, because you guys understand what's going on. This is not about an election this year. It's about pillaging the United States and making it look like, natural events, and that this has to go in a certain way. These people are benefiting. Believe me when I tell you. You don't have to take my word for it. But anyway, I discovered something, this also from Judicial Watch. They discovered in one of the obtained by a FOIA request that in the District of Columbia, they're giving these out like candy. Non-voter registration application. Non-citizen voter. I mean, is this insane? I mean, this is in the District of Columbia, because they're trying to shore up the voter base there. Or maybe even, they've been trying to push for having delegates coming out of D.C. So this is another one that I discovered very interesting. So this is, again, part of the realization. But this is what I wanted to talk about. This is on the 19th today as I'm doing this video. See how the chaotic energy starts to build and how people start getting, they start overreacting, or they start impulsively doing things out of the ordinary, or chaos starts to ensue here in England. This is from the Gateway Pundit. England has fallen. These are the migrants rioting and protesting and against the police there and starting fires. You see how the chaos starts to move along? And I saw story after story on different forums. I mean, you could look this up. It's all over the place. All right. But here's some more chaos that was going on just this morning. Major airlines issue global stops as hospitals, banks report outages. Thousands of travelers and airlines were having issues. Matter of fact, some of the people in my community were stating that their family members couldn't get out of the airports because they were down. Okay, so we're seeing this. Major tech outages. You see, this is all on the 19th. See how the energy works? I mean, this time frame between the 13th, let's say June 13th, all the way through the 21st. Very chaotic energy coming to pass. Now, this is very important. When I saw this morning, I said, oh, crap, here we go. Global tech outages hit airlines, but notice what I highlighted over here. What have I been saying for the last, I don't know, year or two, even more? I says they're trying to take these down so they could basically begin to continue to pillage and create a new financial system. And it's very possible now. I mean, the evidence is overwhelming. But this woman, who I dearly love, Catherine Austin Fitz, who's a financial analyst, used to work on Wall Street and worked for the Bush administration until they threw her under the bus. She has her own private community as well, but she does have tons of videos on YouTube you could watch talking about what they're doing. So she just put this one out, as an advertisement video. Well worth listening to. She calls it Plunder Theater. You are not entertained, because what she's basically describing is they're trying to divert your attention while they begin to take over. And when I say they, I'm talking about the worldwide deep state, the people in the shadows that have the power, that are controlling the politicians, taking the land, taking the farmland, controlling regions. She understands all this. This is one of the people that, basically has been talking about this for years. What is actually going on. She's a highly intelligent woman, a great respect for her. Check her out, okay? So, but here is what appears to be going on. Again, this is on Telegram, but I thought this was really good, so I had to post it. I've already shared this in my private community, but I'll share it with you in the public here. I'm not going to read these because obviously the algorithm and, it's listening to everything. So first we have number 1 here, right? Then we have another one which we haven't seen yet. Number 2 we haven't seen yet. But look at number 3. Nationwide cyber attacks. And then number 4. Now, friends, again, many of us have been saying whatever's coming this fall, beginning now into the fall season before the elections, we may see tons of these right here. We may see this right here. Okay? And we may even see this. I've said there could be something related to illness. And this guy has been saying the same thing, warning about another event like this. Now, this is possible. We don't know. But number 1 is already on the list. It's already happened. And number 3 is starting to reveal itself. Just like these stories with the airlines going down and banks not being able to operate, and healthcare systems and so on. So, and my cell service also acting up over here, and in Phoenix and in Sedona. I've contacted other people. I say, hey, you guys having issues with your cell service? And they said, yeah, it's been sketchy. I can't get calls through, or, the internet's not working. So again, I'm seeing a pattern here, and we have to come to this understanding that something is being activated, maybe beyond the normal. Okay. So I found this, and I have to put this out. If you haven't figured it out yet, they are blank events, so you will accept their solution. This is basically, what David Icke has been talking about for years in his books. Problem, reaction, solution. And that's what we're seeing right now. And so the more of us that could wake up and not live in fear, or, and not feed into, prepare and just stay out of the fear mode, the better. Okay? Now, while all this is going on, I saw a couple of stories on Mount Etna erupting again. Now, this has been a very super active volcano, okay? But the reason I think this is so important, because during one of my deep meditations, this was at the beginning of the year, very deep, a couple hours as a matter of fact, I was shown several volcanoes erupting simultaneously. And I think I did mention in one of my videos, August, September of 2027. That's a few years away. Now, I was shown that when these volcanoes start erupting, and I did name Mount Etna in that video, so this is why I brought this up. There were going to be a couple of volcanoes erupting simultaneously around the world, almost within a couple of days or maybe even on the same day. And I was shown that when that does occur, the Earth continues to shift. The magnetic north, the poles are shifting. This is where we begin to see more natural disasters with water and the Earth. This is in 2027. So I'm just putting this out for you guys, not out of fear, but this is kind of a confirmation for me. And I wanted to show you, especially if you folks live in Italy, okay, and you know this has always been something that you guys have to worry about. That this volcano erupts and literally destroys the entire, city of Sicily there, the whole region. So this is something we need to keep an eye on. The weather, whether it's natural or it's being helped along, we need to pay attention to the weather, because it does affect food, it does affect travel, it does affect, technological systems like cell towers and so on and so forth, internet. So this is why it's important. Okay, so I'm bringing this up. So anyway, I wanted to just give you an overview of what I'm seeing here, and we're not out of it. We're not out of it yet, friends. Okay. So, but anyway, I discussed more of this in my inner circle. Obviously, I do Zoom calls every week with my my group, and then of course I have the free group right here on the left. So if you guys don't want to pay to be in my private community, you have the free group here. They talk a lot about astrology. We share other stories here that we can't do on these other platforms. But anyway, the inner circle, a lot more information. Obviously, I do the weekly astrology, the Zoom calls. People get to ask me questions. We interact. And of course, I have my entire astrology program on there. So anyway, check it out. And of course, I've been promoting this because this is such a great deal here. I found this website. In fact, one of my team members found this website. It's a free moon reading, and we sent away for it, and it's actually a really cool moon reading, and it's very accurate because they do base it on astrology. It's totally free. They give you a mini reading, but of course they're going to try and upsell you. So if you do go to this website, great if you want to buy something, but remember, I have nothing to do with this website, because some people have said, hey, they're trying to sell me a reading, they're trying to sell. I said, I have nothing to do with it. We just thought this would be a nice gift for people to get a free personalized reading, and then if they want to buy something, great, that's up to them. But this is just sort of a gift for anyone that's interested. But it is what it is. But remember, friends, through all this nonsense and whatever the hell's going on in the world, always stay centered. Stay centered within yourself and remind yourself of this all the time. This is what I say to myself all the time. I realize who I am. I'm a spiritual being having this human experience. All right? So do the best you can. Let's see what happens over the next couple of days and into the rest of the month. And I will talk to you guys soon. Bye for now.